hike towards one of our favorite beaches in the area. Fortunately, it's mostly downhill, so we won't have to breathe hard. But we thought what we'd do today is just record some answers to a bunch of similar questions that we've been receiving. Mostly from our family, a couple from people we don't know, which is kind of cool also. They mostly have to do with how things are for us right now on a personal level. We've been documenting a lot of the trials and tribulations that we've been going through, and
mostly boat repairs and a few, I guess, administrative type things, but
we really haven't addressed how we're doing on a personal level. Looks like where we're going. On a personal level, it's I guess we should both answer this individually, but for me, I'll start. It's been a lot of frustration with bureaucracy. That's been my biggest mental and emotional hurdle. Requirements that we don't have in the United States. Obviously the language is different, so that's adding a whole nother layer of complexity to what we didn't anticipate. So I've been very frustrated by the length of time that things take, and COVID has also had a big part of the delays and the timing of things, and so that's been really frustrating too.
Those are kind of wouldn't be as big of a problem if we didn't have an impending deadline. We would have we have a visa issue that we're getting resolved, so that did relieve some stress. But I think the biggest challenge for me is always trying to stay positive, and given the uncertainty, really, it's just that nothing, you can't really count on anything, which is one of the reasons we took this journey, is because of the uncertainties. It's really the uncertainty. One, are our visas going to be approved? We did miss the Atlantic crossing window. So what are we going to do with our time until next November? We have issues of visa, potentially having to go back to the United States for the next 8-9 months, or trying to be able to get a visa to stay in the EU, and there's a potential for us to do that. So to me, those are massive upheavals and complete 180 of our plan. So it's really hard to wrap my head around having to do either one of those. The inability to plan is very difficult for me. I mean, you're so used to having a plan, being able to execute that plan generally how you think it should happen, and generally it works out. But this journey has been all about things going completely 180. Which there's a moment where you're like, fine, I'm gonna go with the flow, but then you sort of get fatigued by that, unless you have a really good practice to be able to deal with that. So that has been extremely stressful. I guess not having much to do. I mean, we've done most of the boat. We've got everything ready to go. And so this waiting is difficult. Not having a sole purpose. You know, our purpose was to go sail, and we're not going sailing. Although I did say when I was dreaming up this sailing life that you have no idea where it's going to take you. And that was the exciting part. Back in October, when we arrived in Greece, a couple of days before our boat renaming ceremony, we visited Poseidon's temple. It was only about 5 kilometers from our boat, We really needed to speak with this important God himself about our decision to rename the boat. Part of our negotiated arrangement was that we would clean plastic off all the beaches wherever we went in an effort to keep the oceans a tiny bit cleaner, in a small exchange for him keeping an eye out for us. To fulfill our half of the arrangement, we clean our favorite secluded small bay whenever we visit. We love to visit this small bay, and it's a wonderful place to unwind and to think about our place in this world. The largest, I guess the majority of plastic that we pick up on the beach is definitely bottle caps and straws. I mean, they're not like the biggest pieces, but definitely the most number of pieces. So just water bottles, soda bottle caps, and straws of all sorts. These are a pain in the ass. Anyway,
the shot was brought to you because we just dumped the bag out accidentally.
Anyway, so now you get to see what's in the bag.
Some of the other things that have come up are just generally the trials and tests of patience that we've had. If you haven't seen our previous videos, we bought our boat in January of 2020, and we came back to the US to wait out part of the winter of 2020 before we were scheduled to return to Greece to get our boat to start living on it. So our plan was to buy the boat in January, go back to Greece in March, fix it up for 2 months, and then start sailing. Because of COVID and the lockout of US citizens in Europe, we weren't able to return to Europe until sometime at the end of October. And as soon as we got here, we moved our boat from the marina that it was in to a shipyard.
But that was because we finally got the transit log, which was preventing us from anyone from moving the boat. We had arrangements for a captain to move the boat from Lavrio to Elmira shipyard.
Yeah.
But because of this transit log issue, it sat in the marina, a very expensive marina, just basically shelling out money month after month that we were locked out of Europe. We were paying this marina and just were desperate to get it moved because it was just costing us a fortune. So we were able to get to Greece in October and then have it moved. And that's when we started the repairs that you're seeing in the videos of getting the boat ready to cross the Atlantic.
Yeah, so as soon as we moved the boat, we started doing the repairs like Kay just said, and right after we started doing the repairs, Greece locked down the waters again, which means that no boats can go in the water.
And they also prevented people from traveling from region to region. So that made the shipment of goods really difficult. So I think we touched a little bit about that, but getting something from Athens to where we were, which is literally only 33 kilometers, could take anywhere from 3 days to 15 days. So, and it's hit or miss. It's nothing you can really count on, and it's just you're lucky if you get it. So that was another level of uncertainty that we're dealing with, besides the lockdown and all the other restrictions that Greece has in place.
As of shooting this video today, we've owned our boat on paper for over a year now, and we have not sailed our boat a single day.
Right.
And it's just, it's a real test of patience. You know, we had this 5-year plan in place, and you know, we'd been dreaming about doing this boat life for a long, long time. We sold everything that we had, sold our house, quit our jobs so we could do this boat adventure. We buy a boat, get to Greece, and now we're on pause. We've been on pause for over a year on top of the stress of the pandemic. And it's really taken a toll on us, mentally, physically, emotionally, our relationship even. And we were talking off camera just a second ago about how we want to answer this question. And I think the important point is that we have to keep reminding ourselves that we're a team, that, you know, we love each other, and that's the most important point. Everything else can go away, but we've got to keep that base foundation intact. And we've fortunately been able to do that. On top of that, we have to keep reminding ourselves that it wasn't a bad plan. It hasn't been because we didn't do our homework. All of these different situations can be traced back to have a COVID origin to them. The delays are COVID related. The bureaucracy delays also have a COVID factor to them. The lack of materials, the lack of skill that we've had available to us is because of the lockdown from COVID. So it's really, you know, I think in my mind, 80% of the frustration that we've run into has been COVID related.
Yeah, and we just have to keep reminding ourselves again, like, this is nothing we did wrong, it's just what is, and it is COVID, and like the rest of the world, everyone is having to adapt and adjust and figure things out. So you kind of, when you're on a path and you have this goal in mind, you kind of forget, or at least I did for a minute, that it's not, how do you say, it's nothing you've done wrong. It's just you're dealing with an epidemic or a pandemic that no one can really figure out how to deal with. So, so once we have that, remember that. We have to tell ourselves that every, 3 days?
At least. Yeah, sometimes a couple times a day.
Yeah. There's been so much good that has actually come from our situation that we wouldn't have met Marta and Luca had it not been for the pandemic. Because of the timing, the fact that we arrived in October, they were available to help us move the boat. We met them through a friend of a friend who we met in Italy. So there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the friendship that has happened since then has been absolutely incredible. And I don't think we could have maybe survived as well, or
No.
has been, it wouldn't have been, it certainly wouldn't be as pleasant experience if it wasn't for Marta and Luca and their generosity. And yeah, I don't know if we would have even stayed this long in Greece.
No, probably not.
We probably would have had to figure out a different path.
The other thing that's really beneficial for us to look at is the string of events, of fortunate events, the string of fortunate events that we've had to get us where we are. Sometimes when we start to list them verbally to each other of all the beneficial, freaky coincidences that we've had to get us to this point, it really makes us scratch our head at times, that the timing that we've hit these things on. The 2-week window that we had to move our boat and did.
Right before the lockdown?
Right before it locked down again.
Right when we got here, yeah.
Exactly when we got here. So we got our translog and then moved the boat and then it locked down again. It's just things like that just make us scratch our heads. You know, when times are bad, it's easy to overlook the good. And for us, it's been really important to keep reminding ourselves of the good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. That you have to do that.
And also, we don't have a situation of poor pity us at all. It's just we're narrating what's going on with us. We realize right now in the world that there are many, many, many more people in a way, way, way worse situation than we are. And we're extra fortunate to be where we are. And I don't want to overlook that or not acknowledge that at all. We're super lucky. We're just narrating what's going on in our lives right now.
Mm-hmm. So where do we go from here? We are running into our visa deadline. Again. If we don't get the visa, we have to head back to the United States, but we're going to decide that later. Right now, we're going to keep moving forward as if we're allowed to stay here. And so we need to make arrangements for that. We're starting to work on some projects that may allow us to stay here, who knows? And they're not anything we would have dreamed up that we'd be working on. So that's pretty cool, and that is another lesson. Like when we decided to give up the 9 to 5 predictable day in, day out kind of life, we knew we would be embarking on a lifestyle that is unpredictable and uncertain, and there'll be many possibilities that will open up that you can't expect. So, so far, so good.
So far, so
that
good.
has definitely happened. Yeah, we don't know where we're going to be in the next month. So for now, we're here working on some projects, having the most wonderful time with their family. We couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, super fortunate.
Yeah.
Ever since we left the United States, we decided to have this plan, because we don't have a plan. But our plan has been to wing it and to let our lives unfold in front of us. And a door opens, a door closes kind of a situation. And you know, we put out our energy that we want a door to open, and we don't know what that door is, but fortunately one has always opened for us. And so we're going to keep that going until it doesn't work for us.
Yeah, a very big lesson in self-trust.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's not like it's there every day. You feel that self-trust every day, but it's a big lesson and a reminder to trust yourself and trust your decisions, because we've only been able to make decisions based on the information we had at the time. And of course, what is just a killer to your psyche is when you go back and say, oh, we shouldn't have done that, we should have done this. Why did we do that? We could have been, you know, we wouldn't be in this situation if we made this decision. But honestly, that opportunity wasn't there at the time that we were making that decision, or that information wasn't really clear. So again, you have to remind yourself you made the best decision at the time. So I think for everyone, really,
absolutely.
try to remember that, and don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. You can't change the past. You can only go forward.
Exactly.
And use the past as a lesson.
Yeah, and not what's the word I'm looking for? Retrospect isn't always a positive thing.
I don't think that's going to be a bumper sticker, but
retrospect.
Sure. I'm giving ourselves advice right now, but if anybody else could use this too, please do. But keeping humor in your life is really important, because it doesn't let you get down. You don't start feeling sorry for yourself. If you can, you know, laugh once a day about something.
More than that, I hope.
Yeah, I hope too. But I mean, I've had times in my life where I wasn't laughing once a day, and I was just miserable.
For sure.
And I saw that in myself, and I set a goal for myself that I was going to laugh once a day. And that's how I started to get out of my funk. And so, you know, right now I just have a little checklist of my days, and I make sure I laugh at least once a day. It sounds stupid, but
checklist.
It gets me through.
Yeah.
We really appreciate all the really nice comments that we've received under our videos, and at times it's a bit overwhelming to see people that we don't know, honestly, have left comments for us, and it's really touching, and we really like that part of what we're doing.
Yeah, the connections
Yeah.
with people that you don't know, but there's something you have in common, is really wonderful.
If you want to comment, we'd love to hear from you, and if you want to comment back, let me know. Or if you have a question about anything we've done so far, I'd like to know that too.
We're still moving forward, getting the boat prepared to sail.
We just have a few minor things left. We have a whole bunch of videos to make still about what we've done to the boat. And
yeah, it's been amazing.
We're on schedule for at least once a week.
We really love your comments, guys, so please leave them, and please leave us a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love them, love them.